Incredible little girl exposes billionaire's cruelty to her poor mother, revealing a heartwarming fight for dignity. Lily's heart raced as she watched the scene unfold before her. Her mom, Sarah, with flour-dusted hands, was just finishing a delivery for the local charity bake sale when a man in an expensive suit confronted her. Mr. Harrington, the town's corporate tycoon, stood tall, casting a shadow over Sarah's tiny frame. His words cut deep, sharp as a knife. "You messed up my order. This is unacceptable," he bellowed, his voice laced with disdain. Lily felt her chest tighten. How dare he speak to her mother like that? She watched Sarah's face flush with embarrassment, her lips pursed to suppress any response. In their small home, they had laughed over the smell of fresh cookies and the warmth of late-night talks. But here, in front of a man who felt entitled to berate her, Lily sensed a cruel world crushing the kindness they carried. "Don't let him get to you, Mom," she whispered under her breath, her tiny fists balled up in determination. Days passed, but that moment seared itself into Lily's mind. It ignited a spark deep within her, a fierce indignation that would not die out. She couldn't stand by silently while her mother and others in their community continued to be disrespected. It was time to speak out. So, she gathered her friends, spry and ready to join her mission. They coined their cause Baking Change. With every sparkly post they shared on social media, they highlighted the struggles of working-class families like theirs. Their stories rolled in, filled with resilience, love, and the scent of baked goods wafting from homes just like hers. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Baking Change grew, so did conversations about economic inequality in their suburban town. Neighbors debated, shared tears, and even laughter. They became more than just a community, they became a force. Lily soaked in every moment, feeling the strength of her mother's friends rallying around them. With every like and share, they chipped away at the iron wall that greed had built around their town. Then the news spread like wildfire. There would be a town hall meeting to discuss local business practices. It was her chance. Lily tightened her braids, stood taller than she felt, and decided she would confront Mr. Harrington. On that fateful day, as she stood before the crowd, heart pounding like a drum, she felt the weight of their shared hopes. Suddenly, Harrington walked in, his arrogance still clinging to him like cologne. When their eyes locked, a jolt of silence swept over the room, thick as molasses. In that flickering moment, Lily didn't just see a man, she saw who he represented, everything unfair and cold in her community. She was ready to challenge him, ready to demand justice for her mother and every parent working tirelessly to create a better life. But would he see their humanity? Would he recognize the hurt he had caused? The air sparkled with tension, hope swirling like the scent of freshly baked bread. Lily took a deep breath, the kind that often filled her with courage when she needed it most. She glanced around the packed room, faces full of encouragement and disbelief. She felt their uncertainty, their hopes pinned on her small shoulders. Would she be able to articulate what everyone was feeling? Mr. Harrington faced the crowd with an air of self-importance, adjusting his tie as if he were a king surveying his kingdom. The murmurs faded to a hush. Lily's heart raced. The moment had come. "Mr. Harrington." She called out, her voice wavering but gaining strength. "I have something to say." His eyes narrowed, a smirk crawling onto his lips. "And who are you, little girl? Shouldn't you be at home playing with dolls?" Fuel surged through Lily. How could he dismiss her like that? "I'm Lily. And I'm here to talk about the people you've hurt," she exclaimed. She looked into the crowd, her friends giving her nods of approval and reassurance. My mom, our moms, they work hard every day. They don't deserve to be treated like this. Whispers erupted amongst the crowd, a ripple of support mixed with disbelief at her audacity. Harrington's expression hardened. This is ridiculous, he stated, waving his hand dismissively. No, it's not. She pressed on, fighting to keep her voice steady. It's time for people like you to listen to us. We're not just numbers. We're families. Excitement crackled in the air. A few voices chimed in louder now, rallying behind Lily. She's right. Someone shouted. A mother stood up, her hands clenched into fists. We deserve respect. Lily felt buoyed by their energy. She stepped closer to the front, her eyes locked on Harrington's. You think it doesn't matter when you shout at us? But it does. It hurts. She could see a flicker of something in his eyes. Was it guilt? You run this town, but that doesn't mean you own it, she continued, her heart pounding fiercely. Behind every delivery, every baked good, there's a story, a struggle. And you know what? We're tired of being treated like we don't matter. The crowd erupted. Cheers, shouts, and applause filled the room as more and more people stood to add their voices. Harrington's once confident demeanor began to waver, his smirk replaced by a frown. But you're just a child. What do you know about business? About economics? He stammered, trying to regain control. What I know, Lily shot back, is how it feels to watch my mom cry after a long day and how she sacrifices so much for us. I know love and dignity shouldn't have a price tag. The energy in the room was electric, and Lily could feel change in the air. They were rallying together, united behind her. She had started something, there was no stopping it now. Just then, as if deflecting the spirit of hope, Harrington leaned forward. You really think you can challenge me, little girl? You don't have any idea who you're up against. Lily's breath caught in her throat. Could she really keep going? Would he silence her, or would she stand her ground? Unsure yet determined, she placed one foot forward. I may be small, but I have a voice, and it will be heard. The crowd grew louder, chanting her words back at her, building an unbreakable chorus of support. And as the echoes bounced off the walls, Lily knew she was no longer alone in this fight. But she also sensed a storm brewing, something dark looming on the horizon. As she stood defiant and hopeful, she couldn't shake the feeling that Mr. Harrington would fight back in a way she hadn't anticipated. What would that mean for her, her mother, and the entire community? The tension crackled, leaving a question hanging thick in the air, a question that would demand courage and resolve from everyone involved. What was he capable of, and how far would he go to silence their voices? Lily felt the weight of eyes on her, saturated with hope and fear. The air crackled with tense energy as she faced Mr. Harrington, a titan in their community, armed only with her voice. The crowd behind her surged as if in unity, their whispers had turned into a storm, a force of nature ready to wash over Harrington's dismissals. You don't scare me, she declared, swallowing hard. Her mind raced, thinking of her mom, the long hours she worked, and the joy stolen from their lives. She thought of other families, struggling like hers. Each face solidified her resolve. This isn't just about me. It's about everyone you've hurt. A mother near the front shot her fist into the air, chanting, "We deserve better." Others quickly picked up the refrain, a wave of voices rising with each chant. Harrington stepped back, his brow furrowing deeper. For the first time, doubt flickered across his face. Enough, enough. He finally shouted, attempting to reclaim authority. You think your little outburst can change anything? I own this town. Lily's heart raced. You may own businesses, but you don't own the hearts of the people here. She shouted back, her voice echoing in the room. The crowd roared their approval, the sound thunderous and alive. What do you really know about owning anything? Harrington sneered. This is all theatrics. You're just a child trying to play grown-up. How cute. The mockery stung, yet it fueled her fire. I know more than you think, she replied. Being a child doesn't mean I don't see. I see families struggling because you make choices that hurt us. All for profits and for what? So you can wear fancy suits and drive fancy cars. We are not pawns in your game. A murmur rippled through the crowd: agreement, recognition, solidarity. With every word, each of Harrington's defenses was chipped away, revealing a vulnerability he didn't want anyone to see. You have no idea what it's like. He shot back, but his voice was faltering now, wavering. This is about business, about growth. It's about humanity. Lily retorted, the urgency of her words echoing with power. Businesses thrive because of people. You may have the resources, but we have something stronger. We have community and love and strength. A mother on the brink of tears stepped forward, her hands trembling as she raised them in support. Lily, speak for us. They don't care about us. With the crowd behind her, a wave of empowerment washed over Lily. She could feel their strength, their determination pushing her forward. You may think we are nothing, but we are everything. She shouted, her voice rising with every word. You can't buy our worth. You can't silence our stories. Harrington's expression turned to fury, the mask of a man who thought he could control everything was slipping. For a moment, uncertainty flickered across his eyes again. That flicker was hope for the community, but it was a dangerous hope. Suddenly, he pointed at Lily, his finger shaking. You think this is a game? I can ruin you, ruin your families. Try me. The threat hung in the air like ambient electricity, darkening the mood momentarily before the crowd erupted in outrage. You can't scare us. They yelled back in one voice. Lily felt the thrill of the moment wash over her. But she also realized the fight was far from over. As the chants echoed, she looked at Harrington, eyes blazing with fire and trepidation. What would he do next? Would he resort to tactics that would threaten them all? The burning question hovered in her mind, leaving her breathless. She had sparked something that had shifted the balance. But with that spark came a shadow. How far would a man like Harrington go to maintain his power? The crowd pushed forward, hope filling the gap where fear once resided. But the battle had just begun, and Lily knew the real fight lay ahead. Would her voice be enough? What would Harrington unleash in retaliation? The tension in the room crackled like loose wires ready to spark. Lily stood firm, the pulse of the crowd behind her a steadfast heartbeat. But she could sense the darkness in Harrington's gaze. The air thickened as fear washed over the faces of her neighbors, mingling with the hope she had ignited. They were trapped between glory and despair. Don't you dare think you can intimidate us, Lily shouted, her voice trembling but fierce, a shield made of words. We will not be silenced. Harrington glared at her, a predator cornered. You believe this is a noble stand? You're nothing to me, a child in a big world. Tell me, what can you possibly do? Lily felt the surge of adrenaline course through her veins. This was the moment to dig deep, to call on the stories she had heard, the hardships her neighbors had faced, the laughter that had faded. I can be the voice for every single family you've turned your back on. Each of us matters. We're a family here, and together, we are stronger than you think. The crowd shifted, emboldened by her words. An elderly man stepped forward, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. She's right. We've built this community with love and sweat. Harrington's money doesn't buy that. Harrington's face reddened, a storm brewing behind his eyes. You think you can rally them? You think they'll stand with you when the stakes go up? He laughed, but it was a hollow sound that echoed back to him, swallowed by the crowd's growing fervor. Lily took a step closer, feeling an electric connection with the people surrounding her. What do we want? She called, the chant rising from the crowd like the swell of a tide. Justice. Justice! Justice! She thrust a fist in the air, and the crowd matched her. Their voices filled the hall, ringing off the walls, louder and prouder than anything Harrington could muster. She could see fear flashing across his features, and for a heartbeat, she could feel victory fluttering just beyond her reach. Yet, lurking in the depths of his expression was something more dangerous than fury, fear of losing control. "You'll regret this," he hissed through clenched teeth. "I own everything here, you fools. I can take away your homes, your jobs." In that instant, Lily's heart raced. She realized their unity was a double-edged sword. Harrington's threats were more than just words, they were red flags, warning signs of a man backed into a corner. The crowd around her was still chanting, yet she could feel an undercurrent of doubt surfacing. Could Harrington really do it? "Look at how we've gathered here. Do you think I would ever let him hurt us?" Lily shouted, pushing against her own anxieties. "This isn't just about me, it's about each of us being brave together." The crowd roared in reply, a tide of voices wrapping around her. Still, she felt the fiercest rallying cry clashing against the bone-deep fear of what Harrington might do next. "Fight with me. Stand strong." But as Harrington retreated, the air shifted. His menace had dimmed, yet the threat of retaliation loomed larger than ever. Without his composure, the ruthless edge of his power was becoming unpredictable. How far would he go to maintain his grip? Lily scanned the faces around her, each one alight with something: determination, anger, hope. "We won't back down. We'll face him together," she vowed. But the question clung to her heart. What would be the cost of their courage? As the crowd began to disperse, she felt a heavy weight settle in her stomach. They had given their voices, but would it be enough to battle a man like Harrington? And how could she, just one girl, protect everyone she loved from the fallout that was now inevitable? The movement had started, but now another question loomed like a dark cloud over their heads: what would it take to truly stand up to a giant? As they all walked away, Lily's heart was heavy with uncertainty, the fire of their fight dimming just a little at the edges. Would they dare to believe that they could make a difference in a world ruled by fear and greed? Lily walked home with a swirl of emotions clawing at her heart. The thrill of rallying the crowd still tingled in her fingertips, yet doubt loomed large in her mind like a thick fog. Each step felt heavier, the weight of uncertainty pressing down as she replayed the confrontation over and over. She could still see Harrington sneer, hear the venom in his voice. "I own everything here." Those words echoed in her ears, refusing to fade. She had ignited a fire in her neighbors, but would it be enough? What if they retreated into fear after tonight? As she approached her block, the familiar glow of home welcomed her. The small houses lined up like soldiers, each with their stories, their struggles. But the coziness felt different now, tainted by the reality of Harrington's threats. She promised to protect her community, but how could she shield them from someone with so much power? Her mother was inside, preparing dinner as the warm aroma of beans and rice wafted through the open window. Lily's heart ached at the thought of her mother working so hard for so little, and she knew she had to talk to her before she lost the courage she had found. Stepping inside, she was greeted by the sight of her mother humming softly, stirring the pot on the stove. "Hey, sweetheart. You're home early," her mother said, pausing to wipe her hands on her apron. The smile on her face shone with warmth, but it dimmed slightly when she noticed the furrowed brow of her daughter. "Mom, we need to talk," Lily said, the words spilling out like water from a broken dam. Her mother's expression shifted to concern. "Is everything all right? You look worried." Lily swallowed hard, the weight of the world pressing against her chest. "Harrington confronted us. He threatened the community. He said he could take everything away." Her mother's eyes widened, a look of fear flashing across her face. "What does that mean for us, Lily? For everyone? We can't let fear win. I stood up today, and the crowd stood with me. We can fight back together." Lily felt the tremor in her voice, yet she pressed on. But there's a chance he might retaliate. I don't want you to worry. I don't want you to lose hope. Lily, her mother said softly, reaching for her hand. You've got such a brave heart. But you can't carry this all by yourself. We'll face it as a family together. Tears stung Lily's eyes. There was an undeniable comfort in her mother's words, a reminder of the strength that came from unity. Together, they were more than what Harrington could throw at them. But a nagging voice whispered doubts. What if their collective strength wasn't enough to combat his darkness? Suddenly, there was a loud knock on the door. Every muscle in Lily's body tensed, a sharp spike of fear racing through her. Was it Harrington? Did he come to follow through on his threats? Lily's mother brushed a hand through her hair and went to the door, her expression calm and collected. Stay here, honey, I'll see who it is. But the urgency clawed at Lily's nerves. Mom, wait. She cried, but it was too late. The door swung open, revealing a figure shrouded in shadows. Lily rushed to her mother's side just as a familiar voice broke through the tension. Lily, it's me. It was Jordan, her best friend, but the worry etched on his face made her heart plummet. Jordan, what's wrong? She asked, her voice trembling. They're organizing a protest. It's bigger than we thought. But you need to come now. The panic set in quickly. Would they be facing Harrington again, this time with even higher stakes? The fight was escalating, and with it, her fear. Are you ready to make noise? Jordan asked, urgency pulsing in his voice. Lily glanced at her mother, who nodded with a mix of pride and concern. This was it, they stood at the precipice of something greater than themselves. Lily took a deep breath, her heart racing. Let us do it. But deep down, a haunting thought lingered. Were they prepared to face the giant, or were they stepping blindly into a storm? Would they all come out on the other side, or would this be the beginning of their downfall? The future loomed uncertain, and as she stepped outside with Jordan, the weight of unanswered questions pressed heavily on her shoulders. The night air was thick with tension as Lily stepped out of her house, heart pounding in rhythm with the raging storm inside her mind. The neighborhood was quiet, shadows creeping along sidewalks, and the stars were barely visible against the backdrop of discontent. She could sense the weight of those lurking doubts behind her, like ghosts haunting her thoughts. Jordan's hand caught hers, gripping tightly, and she followed him down the street. They're gathering at the park. People are really fired up, he said, glancing back at her, his eyes bright with a mixture of hope and fear. They're ready to take a stand. Vibrations of determination spurred Lily on, but with each step, she couldn't shake the dread clinging to her. What if Harrington's threats were more than just empty noise? What if he had already prepared to retaliate? As they neared the park, the muffled sounds of rising voices filled the air. They turned a corner, and a crowd came into view, faces lit by string lights, their expressions fierce and unified. Lily felt a surge of adrenaline, a flickering flame of courage warmed by the solidarity around her. When they entered the park, her heart soared. The tension was palpable, yet there was an undercurrent of exhilaration lacing through the crowd. Look! Jordan tugged her arm, pointing towards a makeshift stage where older kids were rallying everyone. We need to join them. They quickly pushed forward through the crowd, the pulsating energy washing over Lily like a wave. She remembered each word she had shouted in her speech about hope, resilience, and standing tall against oppression. But now, an unmistakable doubt flickered in her chest. Was she truly ready to lead them? The crowd roared with approval, chanting her name. Lily! Lily! It echoed back at her like a spell, pulling her along as she made her way to the front. The sight of her neighbors, their faces a blend of determination and fear, ignited a fire deep inside her. Just as she grasped the edge of the stage, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She fished it out and saw a message from her mother. Be careful, my love. I'm proud of you. Tears brimmed in her eyes. That simple message meant everything. It was the quiet voice of steadfast love, a lifeline in the storm. With renewed conviction, she climbed onto the stage, her heart racing as she faced the crowd. "Listen, everyone." Her voice rang out, cutting through the murmur of voices. "Tonight, we take a stand not just for ourselves, but for our families, our friends, for everyone Harrington thinks he can silence." The crowd erupted into cheers. But just when she felt the momentum soaring, she caught sight of Harrington's imposing figure slipping through the fringe of the gathering, his presence like a storm cloud overtaking the moonlit night. The cheers faded into murmurs of uncertainty. Lily's stomach dropped. Would he really come to disrupt them? Was he that powerful? "Stay strong," she shouted, rallying her base. "Together, we're unstoppable. Together, we can show him his power is nothing without our fear." As the voices around her lifted again, a realization washed over her. She wasn't alone. They were standing shoulder to shoulder, bodies, hearts, voices all united against one invisible giant. But in the back of her mind, unanswered questions clawed at her again. What was Harrington planning? How far would he go to protect his empire? Suddenly, the crowd fell silent, and all eyes turned toward Harrington, who had stepped forward. The tension hung thick as everyone awaited his next move. Lily's breath caught in her throat. Was this the moment everything would change? Or was it the beginning of a fight she never wanted? She knew she had to confront him, to stand her ground, but her heart raced with fear of what he'd say next. It was now or never. Would she find her courage at the most critical moment? Lily's heart hammered against her ribcage, echoing the uncertainty swirling around her. Harrington stood before them, a giant cloaked in shadow, his presence heavy and foreboding. She could almost feel the energy shift in the crowd, thousands of breaths held in anticipation, waiting for him to speak. "And what do we have here?" Harrington's voice boomed, sharp and cutting through the stillness like a knife. He surveyed the crowd with a smirk, his confidence oozing arrogance. "A bunch of children playing at Revolution? How adorable!" Murmurs rippled through the gathered supporters. Fear flickered in some eyes, while others began to clench their fists. Lily felt her stomach knot. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about every person behind her who saw a chance for change. No. She mustered every ounce of strength she had. "It's not just a game, we're standing up for what's right. You can no longer intimidate us." The crowd erupted in applause, their voices igniting a fire inside her that had been flickering low. She looked to Jordan, who met her gaze with fierce encouragement. He believed in her, they all did. Harrington's expression shifted, annoyance giving way to something far more dangerous: contempt. "You think your little speeches can challenge the power I hold? You think you can sway anyone with your naive dreams?" He took a step forward. The crowd recoiled, tension tightening like a taut string ready to snap. "Power built on fear is weak." Lily fired back, heart racing. "You think we fear you? We're more powerful than you'll ever be. We have each other." The fire in the crowd surged as they shouted in agreement, voices rising higher. But Harrington, unyielding, unleashed a sinister chuckle. "You can't hide behind these charming words forever. I know your secrets, they belong to the weak." Her breath caught. Secrets? What did he know? "Lily!" Someone called from the back. "Don't listen to him." The chant started softly, building momentum. "We've got your back. We stand with you." With every word, it felt like they were wrapping Lily in a blanket of strength. She wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for every person who had ever felt crushed by the weight of someone else's power. "Listen to them, Harrington," she called, her voice unwavering. "You'll never silence our hope. You'll never crush the spirit of this community." His eyes narrowed, and an unsettling silence fell over the gathering. "Hope? Really? Do you honestly believe that?" "Yes," she shouted, her voice ringing with conviction. Hope is stronger than any threat you can make. A flicker of doubt crossed Harrington's steely facade. For a split second, it looked like he was wavering, as if tremors of fear worked their way up through a carefully crafted exterior. "Tonight is just the beginning, Harrington," Lily declared, emboldened by the cheers and support enveloping her. "This community is awake, and we're ready to fight." Just then, a sound broke through the night, a crack of thunder, echoing over the park. The rain began to fall, but the crowd remained resolute, determined not to let anything dampen their spirit. But Harrington sneered, "We'll see how long your precious hope lasts when reality hits. And I promise you, it will." As he turned to leave, leaving a shroud of intimidation hanging heavily in the air, Lily felt a creeping dread. Was he really done? Or would he escalate his tactics, crueler than ever before? "Don't let fear creep back in," she shouted after him, desperate to reclaim the momentum. The crowd surged forward, igniting into chants, drowning out Harrington's retreat. The storm outside mirrored the tempest within her. She didn't know what Harrington was plotting, but one thing was certain: this confrontation was far from over. And as raindrops began to fall like the tears of 1,000 unsung voices, Lily vowed to stand tall against whatever Harrington had in store. Little did she know, the real battle was just beginning, and an unexpected ally would soon emerge, ready to force her to confront truths she'd never imagined. What would she discover about herself and the depths of her community's strength? Lily stood in the midst of the downpour, the rain mingling with the sweat and adrenaline coursing through her body. The crowd around her was a living entity, shifting and pulsing with energy as they chanted her name. "Lily! Lily! Lily!" Each repetition struck like a drumbeat, igniting her spirit, wrapping her in a cocoon of hope. But beneath the growing determination lay an unshakable doubt. Harrington's words lingered in her mind, curling around her thoughts like smoke. Secrets. What did he know? She could feel the weight of those secrets pressing down on her, as if they were stones in her pockets. She had always tried to keep the past buried, the struggles hidden. Now they shimmered on the edge of exposure. "Are you okay?" Jordan nudged her shoulder, concern etched in his eyes. She forced a smile, but it felt fragile, like a cracked glass. "I will be. We're not finished yet." They needed a plan, something to turn the tide. Lily scanned the crowd, counting familiar faces: Sam with his excited grin, Mia jumping up and down, her hair a wild halo in the rain. They were the bright spots in her stormy sea, yet there was still that gnawing worry. The thunder rumbled ominously overhead, harmonizing with her fear. "Okay, listen," she called, raising her voice above the din. "We need to gather our strength and focus. We may be small, but our hearts are strong." The cheers surged again, but an echo of doubt still rippled through her. What would they do next? How could they fight against an enemy as powerful as Harrington? In that moment, she felt a surge of urgency. "Let us regroup," she urged, eyes scanning for strategic minds, those who could help craft their next move. "Find the organizers. Talk about sharing our stories. They need to know what we've been through." With a powerful movement of her hand, she pointed to a few faces. "You, Sam. Talk to the artists. We need voices. We can use their art to express our fears and hopes." Sam nodded, already bouncing on his feet, ready to channel the chaos into creativity. "Mia, you're perfect for this. Take your friends and start collecting stories. Hand out pamphlets, anything to raise awareness." Mia beamed, ready to spring into action. Lily felt a tingle of excitement rush through her. This was what she needed: a community banding together. They weren't just faces in a crowd, they were powerful, unified. As she turned back to the center of the crowd, a figure emerged from the shadows. The rain glimmered off their hair, revealing a woman with resolve etched into her features. "You're the heart of this movement, aren't you?" Lily squinted through the rain, confusion washing over her. Who are you?" "I'm Sarah," the woman replied, pushing through the throng. "I have information that can help us against Harrington. But trust is hard to come by, don't you think?" All eyes shifted between the newcomer and Lily. The tension in the air thickened. Trust? The word felt heavy. Could she trust this stranger who appeared out of nowhere? "Every moment we waste is a chance for him to strike harder," Sarah continued, her voice earnest. "We must act swiftly. Will you listen?" The crowd fell silent, their attention riveted on Lily. Taking a deep breath, she nodded, feeling the weight of their gaze. "Yes. I'll listen." Something flickered in Sarah's eyes, a glint of determination, but Lily could sense there was more. An underlying struggle, a secret at play. Who was this woman, and how could she possibly aid their cause? As rain poured down, drowning the murmurs, Lily realized this meeting might hold the key to unlocking both their future and her own. But at what cost? What truths would unfold next, and would they propel the movement forward or plunge it into chaos? Lily's heart raced. The weight of Sarah's unspoken words felt like a heavy anchor, demanding to be freed. She stepped closer, trying to catch the glint of trust in this newcomer's eyes. "What do you know about Harrington?" The rain patted against the ground, a fitful rhythm contrasting with the tension in the air. Sarah leaned in, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "He has secrets. Secrets that could destroy him. But we need proof. If you're ready to go that route, it could change everything." Lily swallowed hard. The stakes were higher than ever. Harrington had built his empire on lives like hers, lives that he didn't just overlook but trampled. What kind of proof? With a swift glance around the crowd, Sarah took a deep breath. "I've uncovered a trail of shady deals, hidden accounts. People who suffered because of his greed. If we can expose this, we could actually win." Hope flickered within Lily, but it was quickly snuffed out by uncertainty. "And what do you want in return?" "Just your commitment," Sarah replied, sincerity infused with determination. "This isn't just about me or you. We're fighting for all of us." For the voices silenced by fear, by wealth. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. They were all watching, waiting. Lily could see a mixture of hope and fear in their eyes. It mirrored her own struggle. "What's the first step?" she asked, not wanting to let this opportunity slip away. "We need to meet tonight somewhere safe. Bring everyone who is willing to fight. I'll share everything I've found. Together, we can devise a plan," Sarah urged, firm resolve in her tone. Lily turned to the crowd, her heart pounding like a war drum. "Who's in?" One by one, hands shot up. "We're in," echoed from several voices, and the energy shifted, pumping life back into the movement. A sense of responsibility washed over her. This was it. They were not just opposing Harrington, they were preparing for war, one that demanded every ounce of courage they could muster. "Remember," Sarah interjected, her intensity amplifying the moment, "trust is key. Harrington will retaliate. We need to be vigilant." As a wave of agreement rustled through the crowd, Lily felt a sense of unity blooming. It wasn't just about her fight anymore, it was about an entire community standing against the darkness. With plans set, the crowd began to disperse, voices echoing with renewed energy. But as Lily stepped away, a nagging doubt still nestled in her mind. Could they truly take down Harrington? Or would they be crushed beneath the weight of a titan who only cared for his own gain? Minutes later, as she walked alongside Jordan, the rain began to ease, leaving behind a glistening world of hope. "You okay?" he asked, brushing water from his eyes. "Yeah," she replied, but her voice faltered. "But what if we're not ready for what's coming?" Jordan gave her a reassuring smile, a tether of support. "We'll figure it out together. We're stronger as a team." But deep down, Lily wondered if they could trust Sarah completely. Sarah's words hung in the air, casting shadows of past betrayals. Could they rely on a stranger's motives when so much was at stake? That question would gnaw at her, simmering until they met again. As the evening approached, Catherine's silhouette loomed in the distance, faintly illuminated by the last rays of sunlight, bringing back memories of the pain and loss that drove her forward. What truths would Sarah reveal tonight? And would those revelations strengthen their cause or fracture their newfound alliance? With every step closer to the evening's meeting, uncertainties brewed, a storm of possibilities swirling just beneath the surface. Lily felt the cool breeze brush against her face as they approached the meeting place, a dimly lit community center on the edge of town. Nervous energy crackled in the air, electricity mingling with trepidation. Tonight felt different. This was not just another gathering, it was the heart of their fight against Harrington. As she entered the center, the familiar faces of her neighbors welcomed her. The atmosphere buzzed with tension and excitement. Rows of folding chairs were arranged in a semicircle, their collective hope glimmering brighter than any chandelier could illuminate. "We're here for change," she exclaimed, her voice ringing through the space, and applause erupted around her. Sarah stood at the front, her gaze sweeping over the crowd like a lighthouse over a stormy sea. "Thank you for coming. We're standing at the precipice of something monumental," she began, the sincerity in her tone igniting the fire within each of them. "Tonight, we share the secrets that could turn the tide." With every word, the weight of their shared stories filled the room, tales of struggle, sacrifice, and resilience. Families recounted Harrington's sneers, his overbearing policies that oppressed their very existences. As they spoke, Lily felt the pulse of unity strengthen the foundation beneath their feet. One by one, they shared their experiences, voices intertwining like the threads of a tapestry. Sarah took notes, her eyes capturing every hopeful tale. This was the truth they sought to expose. "Now," she said, her voice steady, "it's time to share what I've discovered. Harrington's not who he pretends to be. His empire rests on exploitation, and we have the proof to change everything." Lily felt her heart thump in anticipation. Was this the moment they had been waiting for? Tension thrummed in the room as Sarah unfolded evidence, hidden accounts, contracts stained with greed, and stories of people like them who had been pushed aside for profit. Photos of dilapidated neighborhoods juxtaposed against the opulence of Harrington's estates filled the projector screen, igniting outrage among the crowd. "Look at what he has done." Sarah pointed, her voice fierce. "These are more than numbers, they're lives. Families torn apart." Lily could feel the anger rising, sharp and potent. The crowd echoed in response, unified shouts filling the air, a rallying cry against power run amok. "It's time to stand together. We will march." Someone shouted from the back. "Show Harrington he can't hide behind his money." Another voice chimed in, determination swelling. "Let us organize. Let us turn our pain into purpose." Lily added, feeling the fire transform her fears into an overwhelming desire for justice. "We can't let this slide any longer." Plans formed like waves cresting on a beach. They crafted slogans, organized volunteers, and pooled their resources, all fueled by a passion that felt unstoppable. But amidst the fervor, an unsettling thought loomed. Lily's heart pounded as she recalled Harrington's anger, the threats that hung heavy in the air. What would he do when he caught wind of their momentum? Could they truly combat such a powerful foe? As the meeting wrapped up and everyone filed out, Lily felt a mix of triumph and anxiety. Outside, the night was still a calm before the storm. She glanced at Sarah, who was hurriedly gathering her notes. "Are you sure we have enough proof?" Lily asked, concern flickering at the edges of her voice. Sarah paused, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her face. "With what we have, yes. But Harrington will retaliate. We must be ready." "Ready for what?" Lily pressed. "What if he tries to silence us? What if? Then we stand stronger." "Together," Sarah interrupted, the fierce conviction in her eyes burning brighter. "We can't back down. We owe it to everyone who believes in this fight. With each exchange, confidence seeped into Lily, bolstered by Sarah's unwavering commitment. They would march tomorrow a united front ready to challenge Harrington's grip on their lives. The next morning dawned, bright yet heavy with anticipation. Lily stood at the head of the march, adrenaline flowing through her veins. Every person gathered behind her felt like an anchor, grounding her in purpose as the crowd swelled and surged. Together. Together. The chants rang out, echoing between the buildings like music. The energy ignited a fire, making her pulse race and her spirit soar. But as they approached Harrington's corporate headquarters, the towering building loomed like a storm cloud. Would he come out swinging, bared teeth and sharpened claws ready to tear apart their hopes? And then, just as they reached the entrance, Harrington emerged, flanked by security. His eyes darkened, a tempest of fury brewing beneath his composed exterior. "Do you think this childish display can intimidate me?" he scoffed, dismissing them with the wave of his hand. "You're squandering your time." Lily could feel courage building within her. "We're here to expose the truth," she shouted, voice steady as she locked eyes with him. "You've hurt too many people, and now you'll be held accountable." Harrington took a step closer, but the sheer volume of the crowd surged forward, an unbreakable wall of determination. "You think you can change a system that favors the wealthy?" he mocked. "You think you have any power here?" The collective roar of voices answered him, a tidal wave rising up. "We are power. We will not be silenced." For the first time, a flicker of uncertainty slipped across Harrington's stoic face. But then he leaned into his arrogance, recovering quickly, gritting his teeth. "You're playing a dangerous game, little girl." But here stood Lily, with every story she had heard and every heart behind her. This was more than a game, it was a reckoning. And in that moment of overwhelming unity, Lily knew they would face whatever wrath Harrington unleashed, together. They would not shrink away. Love, hope, and community would be their shields. As the march advanced, the hum of purpose lifted, transforming the echoing streets into a cacophony of strength. They were not just voices in the dark, they were a chorus of truth ready to drown out the shadows. The battle had begun, and as they marched hand in hand, Lily couldn't shake the powerful feeling that this was just the start. Together, they would find their light and fight for every soul that deserved to be seen, heard, and respected. As for Harrington, he was about to learn just how resilient a community can truly be. Now, let us turn this story into action. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you won't ever miss this journey as they fight for justice. Leave a like now, it feeds the algorithm and shows your support for this powerful movement. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this fight for dignity. And most importantly, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends because they need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to support this channel and be part of the change.